So Donald Trump was sentenced, and he will remain a convicted felon who will never go to jail, never pay a fine, never do any probation, basically never pay any price for it at all, except for the rest of his life, the stain will be on his name that he's a convicted felon. Unless, of course, this was to get appealed and overturned, or he tries to pardon himself, or if he just holds a press conference and says, hey, everybody, I'm not really one. Don't no one believe that. I've erased it. We will officially call me the God of the world, or whatever. And then if that's the case, his followers will just go with it. That's the problem with MAGA, and that's why I don't give them brownie points for booing Mitch McConnell. They're only booing Mitch McConnell because Trump told them to today, and if Trump tells them to cheer for him tomorrow, they'll be right back cheering him on. So I don't really have any faith in anything they say they believe in, but man, do they believe in some bonkers stuff. And this next clip I'm going to show you from Fox News, they're now comparing Trump to Nelson Mandela. Yeah, take a look.
Trump's a convicted felon, just like Nelson Mandela, Bill Gates. Justin Bieber, Martha Stewart.
What did Bill Gates do?
Driving without a license in the 70s. He was arrested twice.
Wow.
See, MAGA is not ashamed of this at all. They will take this like a badge of honor for Trump. They look at it now like, oh yeah, he was convicted. He was persecuted for us. They will compare him to Nelson Mandela. They'll sit and compare him to Jesus. And it's these over-the-top comparisons that they go for that absolutely just makes me sick to my stomach to watch. It's one thing to vote for somebody because you think that they've got your best interest at heart. It's one thing to vote for somebody because you hate somebody else more. There's all kinds of reasons people goes to vote. But the idea that someone worships him on this level of a pedestal, puts him up this high, that they go for the absolute top shelves, and when it's someone like him paying the price for the things he's done, he's being persecuted. Meanwhile, they will weaponize that same government that they accuse of weaponization. They will use that to weaponize against people that they hate for reasons that they have done way worse. That's just what we're up against. But it goes to show you they have no actual respect for the rule of law. They have no respect for our system. They have no respect for a jury of Trump's peers who looked at the evidence and said, yep, we found him guilty. So they don't have any respect for that system at all unless they find a way to work that system against someone they disagree with. So it's just ultimate hypocrisy. But it's this type of delusional thinking that has got us here, and that's why I just don't see giving them brownie points for suddenly booing Mitch McConnell or thinking, oh, they want a populist. No, they want Trump. That's who they want, and they will believe anything Donald Trump says. I really don't think that anyone else will ever be able to lead MAGA as effectively as Donald Trump has. And I hate to give him credit for anything, but you got to admit, he has grifted and played those people to death. And once he's gone, I really don't think that J.D. Vance has the personality to pull it off. I don't think he really has the know-how unless he's somewhere right now in a room like Rocky Balboa training to be the next one. I don't know. Guys around here do have a hard-on for Elon Musk, and they worship him, so he might stand a chance just for a second, but he's going to slap him around like he's already doing. He's going to completely make fun of him and belittle him. So again, I don't know if anyone will ever be able to grift them to the degree that Trump has, to where they will sit there and compare him now to Nelson Mandela, just completely let this roll off their shoulders. I've seen people compare him to the Apostle Paul. I've seen people compare him to King David. I've had people say to me, well, God sometimes calls imperfect people. All those analogies and all those excuses that people give, that might make them feel better just for a split second, but they're easily debunked if you've ever read the Bible at all, because the whole premise of the Bible is that Jesus came to bring forgiveness to the world. And once he came and brought forgiveness to this world, then there was no other prophets. That was it. He pretty much done away with all the words that came before him and all the stuff that come after him. He pretty much laid down the groundwork and said, I'm it. I'm the beginning and the end, the first and the last. You can only get to heaven through me. He pretty much threw down the gauntlet, okay, and said, here I am. So if you go back and cherry pick out and say, well, God calls these people, you can't find anything in the New Testament. There's no scripture where it predicts another prophet will come along that ain't Jesus Christ. The only person coming back to save the day is Jesus. If you read Revelation or any of the end time prophecies, it's Jesus who's coming back to save the day. No one else. But I have literally seen ministers in my part of the world now try to twist that and say, oh, well, actually, it says Son of Man. Son of Man is Trump. And that type of delusional thinking is truly dangerous because, like Trump said, he said, I could shoot someone in the middle of the street and I wouldn't lose a supporter. That's exactly what we're seeing happening. He becomes a convicted felon. That stain will be on his name, but they will take it as a badge of honor. And I can't name you one convicted felon. And yes, I've known some in my life. One of my best friends was, and he literally went to jail for 3 years for buying stolen ketchup. I'm not making this up. He ran a store and he bought some ketchup that the person told him was theirs and they had the right to sell and they didn't. And yeah, he went away for 3 years for that. And yet we have Donald Trump just continue to get away with everything. And people says, well, at least the stain's going to be on his name for the rest of his life. Well, true. And reasonable people will look at it and say, that's a terrible stain to have on your name. But MAGA will look at it as a badge of honor. And they will wear it like a shield now and go around. And I guarantee you, anyone in MAGA land that is convicted felons will probably come out now with their mugshot on a shirt. Because, again, it's just all about owning the libs to them. It's all about trying to one-up somebody. It's all about trying to, look cool or whatever the case may be. It's also nothing more than a vehicle for their hate. I truly do believe that. I believe, me and my dad was talking about this earlier, I truly believe there was a ton of people showed up to vote because they hate me and you. And they just simply wanted to voice that. I know for a fact I've got a whole inbox full of hate mail of people telling me leading up to the election, I can't wait to watch your face when Trump wins. And then when Trump won, they were right there, man. They didn't let me off the hook. They were right there to go, ha ha, look at you now. Let's see how you try to spin this now. Hey, I don't have to spin it. All I have to do is point what's going on and show you what's happening. Your refusal to see it's on you. But the rest of us can sit back and we can say, yes, the man's a convicted felon. The man is a whole lot of other things. The man should have never sat behind the seal of presidency ever again. The man should have never held any office ever again. I really believe that on the day of January 6th, my personal opinion is he should have been arrested that day. And he should have been treated the way that the rest of us would have been treated had we done that. So, here we are, and it truly is disgusting to watch them make these kind of comparisons. But I will never be surprised, and don't you ever be surprised, because in their world there's no accountability, there's no responsibility, and they will always go for the top shelf and find a way to defend Trump. They'll compare him to Nelson Mandela, they'll compare him to Jesus Christ, they'll compare him to Gandhi. It's ridiculous, it's sickening. The rest of us will sit back and see it for what it really is. They probably never will. But that's why we have to keep our side energized and we have to get back out there and vote and put the work in, because the minute we start losing faith in all of it, and trust me, I understand it's easy to do these days, but the minute we start losing faith is when we lose. I really believe that out of everything Kamala said on the campaign trail, the one thing that was the truest is when we vote, we win. When we stay home, when we don't show up, that's when things go south for us. So more of us has to come together and realize what we're up against, and we will. And I appreciate your support so much here on the channel. We've got over 500,000. We're on the road now to 1 million subscribers, and we'll see how quick we get there. But I do appreciate y'all's support and hope everyone has a great week.